Welcome back to the Strategic Small Business Education virtual event. Our next guest, surprise guest, is a true joy for me to introduce. Jim Padilla is the owner of Gain the Edge. Is it Gain the Edge,
Yep.
Jim? I always want to make sure that I say it right because we got to plug our people. And I'm going to let him introduce himself because he just has a fantastic story. So first of all, Jim, who are you? What do you do?
Yeah, thanks so much for having me on, man. It's a pleasure to be here. And, my name is Jim Padilla, and along with my amazing wife, who is not pictured, but she fills this space here, we have this just crazy company called Gain the Edge, which is, we're known as the outsourced sales specialists in the personal development and coaching industry. We have become the go-to choice in that arena. And we've mastered the art of making more sales for people and helping people make more sales without having to actually get better at selling, which we're going to unpack here today. But we've been in business, we're in our 7th year. We have helped people that you know and many that you don't generate almost over $250 million worth of sales now. And by helping them, bring sales in through launches, live events, high ticket sales, and a number of other strategies. And what's that afforded us is the ability to be able to serve and grow many, many people. We've got this awesome company that we see as a bit of our gift from God and our opportunity to be a provider in the world. We are opportunity creators. So we now have, a team pushing 100 people. We have salespeople. We have operations team. We have a very big nut to crack every single month that sometimes causes me some sleepless nights. But it's awesome because we love being able to help support so many other people's visions and missions and provide their families and everything else that we are called to do. And so now we've been on this journey of creating a peak performance network, which is an environment where we support entrepreneurs and salespeople and literally just run them and support them the same way we support our team. So they're all in the same place. And we are on a mission right now to upset the sales game and change the game and let people understand that if you're in pursuit of sales perfection, you're going down the wrong path. Because this isn't about you mastering sales. This is about you winning customers. And those are two completely different things. I am not a sales guru. I don't want to be a sales guru.
Oh,
I just
Jim,
want to win people over.
I see, and this is why I love you. This is why I was so excited to have you on because you're preaching to the choir. I'm not a sales fan. I just everything salesy just with me, and I love your philosophy. I think. I'll ask you what I remember you saying it always be honest, but what does that mean to you? Like if you could expand on that for me, because I've heard you say it a couple of times at different venues, different events when we spoke together at CEO Space. And I really want to hear what that means. And I want you to share that with the audience if you don't mind.
Sure. It's interesting because it's a very aspirational goal that is hard to hit. You would think just telling the truth would come natural because that's how we're wired as humans. We're literally built for it, but we spend all of our times fighting it. And when we are designed as humans, we resonate with the truth. When you tell the truth to people, speaking the truth unapologetically in love, as long as it's from love, right? You're going to shake people to the core. The truth is not always pleasant, but it resonates at a frequency that people tap in. You might piss people off. You might irritate them. You might blow their minds. But you would be stunned at how often people stand in the fire of that. And they go, whoa, I can't believe you just said that to me. And then after they work through that, they realize it was the thing they needed to hear the most. And that's not just about sales. That's literally every relationship you've got in the world. That's how this all works. The more truth you can tell to people, the more you cut through all of the nonsense. Because most of the stuff that we do wrong is stuff that we're doing to try to be something that we're not, or we're trying to be something that somebody else is, or what the marketplace says we're supposed to be, or what social media says we're supposed to be. And when you just start peeling all that stuff away, The best lesson I ever learned was from, well, I've learned a lot of best lessons, but one of them was from our daughter, who is 33 now. Yes, I'm a dashing looking 50 something father, but 33-year-old daughter, when she was 17, she said, she was talking one day and she was like, I'm so exhausted because I have to be one person to my party friends. I have to be one person to my boyfriends. I have to be another person to the kids at school. I have to be somebody else around you. And I was like, my heart broke. I was like, that has gotta suck. Who wants to live their life that way? And then I realized in that moment, I was living my life that way. I was one man as a father, one man as a husband, one man as an employer, one man as a basketball coach. It's like, I said, it's so much easier if I'm just Jim all the time. Love it or leave it, baby. This is it. And so I am now at 51 years old. Finally, this is me. This is all I am. You get the same guy, whether you're at dinner with me, whether we're on the ball field, on the golf course, in a sales call, on a leadership call, on an interview. This is Jim. And it has never, ever, ever been more easy and more effective and more comfortable to be able to move people throughout the day because they just resonate with who you are, where you are.
And I just, as a testament to that, I have been in all of those scenarios with you and have been impressed with how you are you all the time. At dinner, we've had dinner together, in conferences, in business, both when you and I have been speaking together and then when I've actually engaged your services. I've found the process so simple because I always know who I'm going to get. So I guess that leads me to my next question. How can a small business owner implement this? Because I see the nugget there and I want you to connect the dot for them because when you explained it to me, it was beauty.
So here's the deal. This is something that has been like the culmination of my life, right? Most of you are chasing sales. You have your dreams. They're over there. They're off in the distance. You can see them, maybe hope for them. And someday you'll get them, but you're so busy chasing sales and chasing business to ever actually make it in the direction that you need. And we want to get you to a place where you're not chasing business, you're winning customers, and that you're creating an environment that actually has people showing up in your world wanting to buy from you. And then when they do show up, you're resonating with them in such a way. And this is not just about truth telling. This is about, again, making more sales without you getting better at selling, right? Because when you try to get better at selling, you're mastering scripts, you're implementing 12-step processes, blueprints, formulas. And here's the problem. I recently Googled sales scripts, and in less than a second, it returned 162 million returns. What that tells you is everywhere and everyone has scripts. There's nothing special about them, and they're all created for other people. So you're trying to implement something that somebody else created for them. It doesn't mean it's going to work for you. And then you're wondering why you're getting mediocre results. And mediocre results is not what you're here for. You should be striving, and you will never be more enrolling than when you are being yourself. And here's where I first learned it is, I grew up in a very challenging environment, and my parents were teenagers when I was born. My dad took off, and my mom responded to a very challenging situation with rage and fear and anger. And I got very severely abused as a kid. And I was in foster care at 13, on the streets at 16, and in jail at 19. By the time I was 25, I was in jail twice. I was married twice. I was divorced twice. I was bankrupt twice. I learned everything possible the hard way. But what I started recognizing here is that when you spend every single waking moment mastering the environment around you so that you can influence people to your favor, simply so that you won't die, so that you won't get hurt, where if you don't make the sale, there's a lot at stake. It's a game changer. Imagine the skill sets that you start learning, right? I started perfecting the craft of speaking to people in a way that they needed to be heard or needed to hear, rather than telling them some predetermined message, right? Showing up in a way that delivers a message to people where they say, wow, I needed that for their benefit. And when you have to do it because that's the only way you're going to survive the day, you really start committing to that process. And little did I know that, 20 years later, I'd be making millions of dollars teaching other people how to influence their world around them so that people will trust you enough to let down their guard and buy from you.
So let's jump into that. Like, what are some of those key tips? Because I like what you say, master your environment. And I know you have a really good philosophy around being of service and asking. I know it's something that Gail and I were actually talking about on a live a few days ago. So give us a little bit of your thought on that.
Yeah. The key is like my first sales engagement, official sale. I've been selling my whole life, right? We all have. But I started doing door-to-door ADT alarm sales. And I remember the first door that I knocked on it so softly that nobody heard it because I didn't want them to hear it because I was terrified that they would actually answer the door and then I would have to talk to them. And I had no clue how I was going to survive that moment until I went back to the office and saw everybody else making sales and making money and not me. And I was like, okay, I can't be the only fool in the room here. So I'm going to figure this out. And then what I started recognizing was all of these scripts that everybody was pitching just didn't feel right to me. So I just walked up to the door and started asking people about their needs and concerns about safety. What do they know about the neighborhood? Why would they want to change their situation? What's at risk for them if they don't? The same way you would if you were just talking to your neighbor and not trying to sell them alarm, but have a conversation about safety and walk them to a position of going, wow, I need to think about this differently. Do you have a solution? Guess what? I have one right here, right? And I've been literally doing this my whole life to the point where right now, literally, I structure my world in such a way that people show up wanting to buy. So that the only way I don't make the sale is if I shoot myself in the foot, right? So in that situation, 20 years ago when I had my alarm company, I started finding more people who had access to people like that person, whether it was insurance companies, realtors, other business owners, people who had vested interest in having their own homeowners or friends stay safe because they had a financial stake in the game. Those people wanted me to go protect the home of their client or their friend or their colleague or whatever it was. So those people said, no, you need to talk to Jim. I'm sending him to you because he's got something that's going to change the game for you. So when I show up, they're all ears, right? And part of that is being really well positioned. You have to understand what you do, how you do it, why you do it, and who you do it for. And the better you can articulate that, people can then better describe the opportunity that you have for someone else. And then when they find you, they actually know why you should be a relevant person in their world, instead of you just pitching stuff and talking about products and services, right? I don't want you to sell stuff. I want you to win customers. And again, you're going to have to learn something either way. So why not just learn how to do what comes natural? You're doing this every single day. You're just sharing passionately about the things you believe in. You're saying that you're speaking the truth to your children when you say, if you don't eat your vegetables, you're going to have a problem. When somebody doesn't go watch this movie, they're going to lose out on the opportunity of a lifetime and they don't want to have to not be involved in that water cooler conversation. Those are things you just talk to people about naturally. Why wouldn't you just talk naturally that way to a prospective buyer? When you're the expert of their problem, which is one of our keys to helping people make more sales without getting better at selling, show up as the expert of the problem. Because as the expert of your problem, I know what's at stake for you. Knowing what's at stake for people is another attribute of making more sales without getting better at selling. I know that if you don't solve this problem, you'll never grow your business. And if you never grow your business, you're never going to be at choice. Until you can master the ability to win customers, you will always be at the mercy of somebody else who can. Meaning someone else is always going to eat your lunch and you're going to be so dependent on other people, and you can't be. You want to be recession proof, crisis proof, emergency proof. I don't want for you to have any more good months and bad months, right? People think that's the curse of the entrepreneur. I got news for you. That's the curse of people who don't know how to win customers, right? You should never have good months and bad months. You should only have good months and great months. right? You can't predict specifically how much you're going to have, but you should always have good months because you're in control of that.
And I
Right?
think the key there for you, Jim, is, as you said, nobody likes selling. And I think for you, and I don't mean to put words in your mouth, but you want people to stop selling and you want people to start owning their own authority. Is that correct?
That's a huge piece of it, right? We have something that we teach. We'll be teaching at our Make More Sales live event coming up. But what I teach a concept called the park bench approach to a sales conversation. And here's the key. You should be able to sit down on a random park bench with a stranger and in 30 minutes know what they want, why they want it, what's keeping them from getting it, how committed are they to having it, and when are they willing to get started. Right? Because that's just normal conversation. That's just you caring enough about somebody to ask what's their aspirations and why does it matter. You'll do it over dinner. You'll do it at a Starbucks. Why won't you do it on a sales call? You don't need a script. I noticed that when you talk to that random stranger and find out all their dreams and desires, like you do when you're sitting on a plane and flying across the country, right? You do that without a script. You did it without a funnel, without a sales page. You just took on your natural curiosity as a human being and your ability to tell the truth, your ability to share perspective, the passion you bring to a conversation. And people go, wow, that's cool. Because here's the deal. Nobody is buying your product because they want your product. Nobody cares about your product. What they care about is what they can do as a result of implementing the product. And most of the time, they're going to buy from you because of the belief you have in their ability to actually get the outcome. I promise you, they didn't buy because your product was awesome. They bought it because your belief, commitment, the truth, you being the expert of the problem, saying, look, if you don't do this, I know where you're going to be in 3 months and it won't be pretty. But if you solve this, game's going to change forever for you because I've done it 100 times for other people. You need to do this. That's not selling and following a script. That's sharing the truth with people as an expert. Big difference. Because I don't have to remember what to say. That stuff just comes out of me because I care so much and I'm good at what I do. So if I'm great at delivering a result, I just tell you how I can deliver the result for you and help you win. And you go, wow, that's cool. I'll take 2.
Right? And it's true, and I think that it comes down to those honest conversations, as you said, and recognizing that your product may not be the solution right away. And I think one of the interesting things that you noted too was particularly when you were selling the alarms, you went in and didn't target the customer directly, but you networked with the people who knew the customer. So do you have any tips on networking and making that as part of the sales process?
And totally. Here's my philosophy on this, guys. Pay attention, write this down. There's nothing wrong with prospecting for clients unless it comes at the expense of prospecting for partners. You should always be looking for partners. See, you knock on 20 doors to find a client, which is awesome. Congratulations. Now you got to knock on 20 more to find another client. I'm always knocking on doors to find partners. And then I knock on doors to find more partners. And every one of those partners opens up the door to hundreds of clients and other partners. I do 100 plus podcast interviews a year. I'm on stages all the time. And all of this stuff is as a result of me providing value to my partners. And they go, wow, I have people here you need to help. Can you help them? Can you provide value to them? Right? If you're always looking to serve, like me, perfect example. If you wanted me as a client, I'll promise you I'm a good client because I'm an addictive, obsessive fool. And if I do something, I do it to death. So I'll be your VIP client. But what you really want is my partnership because I got access to a lot of people that you would want to do business with. So don't be so focused on wanting my wallet that you bypass my Rolodex and my trust and the ability to just be in relationship with me. Right? And that's what most people do wrong. We show up trying to close people. I can tell you right now, we have made millions of dollars from referral partners and people who send business our way who've never spent a penny with us because they jump on a call and I willingly serve them, knowing that they're never going to buy from me. But if I can solve a problem for you in a 10-minute conversation, why wouldn't I do that if I actually care about you?
And I love that about you. And honestly, So just so everybody out there is watching knows, Jim honestly has one of the biggest hearts on the planet. Literally would give you the shirt off his back. Honestly, you have such a service mentality, and I took so much away from just watching you interact at the conference and the other interactions that we've had since then. I mean, as you said, it was that, don't look for a client, look for a partner. And I've been blessed to been able to utilize your services, but also, as you said, leverage those connections where if you're not the solution to me, the people who are, and that becomes an invaluable cog to the wheel. So how can somebody really take on that service mentality? Like, how do you know the difference between if I'm prospecting for a client or if I'm prospecting for partners? What are some of those key indicators?
First of all, be really, really clear about who you serve and how. Don't promise to be solutions to everybody if you're not. But when you're talking to people, you got to just really be in curiosity mode for the sake of serving them, not for the sake of serving them with a loose string attached, right? We all say, oh, well, I'm just prospecting for service. And most people aren't, because you're there, you're hoping and praying that people are going to buy, right? But the more you're positioned, you start being invited and attracted to the right places because people know what you do, and they know that when they invite you, you're there to provide value to the people that they serve. Okay, so here's the thing that you want to think about is get to know the person you serve. If you can go an inch wide and a mile deep in a category, you're going to own that category. And when you are, you'll know everything about that category in all the stages of their growth and all the stages of their pain. So when even you might only solve one particular category, but you can surround yourself with a group of people, a network, as we call it, of people who can solve all the other problems that fit right in that section of pain that you are working in. I used to be in mortgage. I used to have a mortgage company. And one thing that I started doing was we had a lot of people relocating from the Bay Area to Sacramento here because when the bubble was hitting, prices were cheap and people were selling their homes for millions and coming here and buying homes for hundreds of thousands. So what I did was every single person who moved in, I said, look, here's my cell phone number, 916-806-9118. You memorize it. You tattoo it everywhere. Anything you need, I got you. You want to know where you take your kids to school? Call me. You want to know where to get your transmission flushed? Call me. You want to know where to go fishing? Call me. And everybody called me because I wanted them to know one number could solve all their problems. And I was that guy. Now, did I create a lot of work for myself? You bet. But you know what else I created? A huge loyal following of people who knew I had their back. So there's a difference between being at a barbecue and having somebody go, yeah, I'm looking to buy a house. Oh, we worked with this guy, Jim. Yeah, he was good. That's one way to do it. It's another thing to be at a barbecue and have somebody go, yeah, we're thinking about refi. Oh, dude, you got to call my guy, Jim. I'm going to introduce you to him right now. This guy's awesome. He will hook you up completely with everything. There's that. What kind of, which one of those two people do you think are going to call me first? Call me fastest, and call me actually wanting to use my services and hire me, right?
All right. It's that power of endorsement, right? That the warm
100%.
lead. I mean, the world, all of those sales scripts will do you no good.
Correct.
But you get a warm lead, somebody who, as you said, is calling you already ready to buy. I know when I was in sales, because raise your hand if you hate sales,
Yes.
and I am that person. I don't like selling.
Right.
But I love providing solutions. And I was working for a ski resort, and it was just inbound calls. It was great. They were already wanting to go and get a vacation and go skiing. That was easy sales. All I had to do, as you said, was listen to their problems and find solutions. But what I like is that you're allowing other people to be that network for you by being of service and getting going. So is there anything else? What other tips you got up your sleeve there, Jim?
Yeah, but the key on that is go further upstream, right? That's not happening because we're spending millions of dollars on marketing, right? We do, but trust me, marketing ads and marketing revenue creates about 5% of our revenue. So it's something you should do. It's not something that you have to do, okay? But the key is making sure that you serve people first. I have served so many people who've never paid me that I've got an army of people out there who have tons of Jim goodwill. that people, anytime something comes up, people go, no, you got to talk to my guy. I mean, Tyler, I'm honored and warmed by this conversation because everything you're saying, I feel good because I know it's like, this is the relationship we've built. I've demonstrated this. I don't serve people because I'm hoping they're going to become a client. And here's the piece of this, guy. Some of this is just, it's more of an energetical shift, right? Which is, people who know me for a long time would know that's not something I would typically talk about. But as the Bronx Puerto Rican that I am, but people say all the time, well, it's easy for you, Jim, because you've made millions of dollars. You got it backwards. I didn't make millions of dollars until I started doing that. I showed up to serve first, and things started shifting. You can't outgive God. You can't outgive the universe. But when you say, but here's the difference, you can't look for it to be linear. That's where most of you go wrong. You think, if I give here, he'll give back to me. There's no guarantee in that. That's not the contract God gives you. God says, go serve and I'll take care of you, right? So I serve everywhere I can, and other stuff comes from over here and over there. And then I get phone calls. I've had a dozen calls in the last week for people to ask me to be on podcasts and on lives, on interviews, which is fantastic because of our event that's coming up in 60 days, which we're totally working on partnership and promotion. And it's like, this stuff just came unsolicited before I was even reaching out to people. It's amazing, right? And you need to make sure that you're doing that. Don't spend all of your time perfecting how you're going to talk about your product. Spend all of your time fine-tuning the problems and the pains of the people you serve. Because if you are the expert of their problem, you'll always be able to speak to the challenges that they have, and they're going to give you credit for understanding it in a way that they will automatically assume you know how to solve it, right? Most people who buy from me, I promise you, it's more like when I get done with conversations with people, they go, well, how do you do this, Jim? How can I hire you? Because all I do when you talk, listen, if you listen to my sales calls, you'd be sadly disappointed because I don't come off like a rock star sales guy. I come off like Jim talking to people. And when we're done, they're super excited about the fact that they can solve their problem. They're super committed to wanting to solve their problem. And they believe that they don't know exactly what I'm going to do for them, but they know damn well that I'm the guy that can help them do it. And then they go, let's do this thing. And then afterwards, they go, what did I buy? Because half the time they don't even know what the heck they bought. They just know that it felt good, it sounded good, and we got it. We got the goods.
It's so true. So true. But I think that's a testament, yes, to your nature, but to a higher understanding, as you said, the energetic shift. I like that you pointed out that it's not necessarily transactional, that you don't know what that gift in return is. I believe, this is my personal belief, so we're getting into Sean Tyler Foley's personal thoughts now here, because why not? We're sharing, right, Jim? That's what we do. That there is an equilibrium to the world. And energy in, energy out, it cannot be created nor destroyed. It just transforms itself. So your energy into somebody else will always be returned to you, but it may not be returned to you from that person.
Totally.
And I believe that there's an amplification effect there. There's a ripple. As you had pointed out, you serve, but then some of those calls start coming in from things that you didn't even expect. Even you and I being on this call today came because we have fostered a relationship for almost 2 years now. And I checked our calendar. With the exception of the conversation you and I had yesterday, we actually haven't chatted in almost 9 months.
Yeah. Because,
you've been busy, I've been busy, we haven't needed to, but we understand, and I think I've even recommended you. I know you picked up a client last week from me because I said, you got to talk to Jim, because what was he complaining about on a forum? I don't like selling. I want to hire somebody who can do the closing. I just want to talk about my products. I want people to understand what it is that I do. I said, that's great. I know a guy who believes that strongly and can help you out. And that's, where you got my referral from, because you are the expert just because of how you show up. So I guess, I know you've got an event coming up. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Because I'd love to know how everybody can learn more beyond what we're talking about today.
Definitely. Thanks for the opportunity. We have an event called Make More Sales Live. It's a virtual live event, 3 days coming up. And what it is focused on is all of the things that we're talking about here, and more. We have dozens of different strategies that we put together, and we have built systems. I've been doing this and decoding this stuff since I was a kid. We have now put all this stuff into processes and systems and essentially a playbook. And at Make More Sales Virtual Live event, you're going to build in 3 days time access. You're going to build, your Make More Sales playbook with each strategy, like simple stuff. Here's a simple one for you. If you want to talk to more people, make more offers. Right? Make more sales, make more offers. Make more offers by talking to more people. How do you talk to more people? You just get more of them to show up. You don't have to get better at selling to be able to convert more if you just talk to more people, right? But how do you get more people to show up? Well, we've got an entire system laid out. You're literally just going to take our templates. You can run around, take the aha that I just gave you and spend all day trying to figure out a process and a system to put it together. Or you can come and spend time for 3 days with my sales brain, my team, helping you put this together using our systems and processes to build your Make More Sales playbook. So you have all of these strategies in one spot to be able to start putting into play and winning customers instead of chasing clients and trying to sell them stuff. Okay, so for 3 days at our Make More Sales live event, which is GTE Now, as in Gain the Edge, gtenow.com/Make More Sales Live. You can find it there, and I know you can find it in the show notes or the pages for the event here as well. And just take advantage of it. You join up. It's $97, right? For $97, if you can't get an ROI on $97, then either you need to quit business or we need to stop teaching sales, because that's just a horrible ROI. The goal here is you're going to shift and change the game. You're going to be so confident and clear and clean that you have a new way of doing things, right? We're drawing the dividing line here. If you're the person who's a sales traditionalist and you think I am out of my mind, number one, I say, please come and try to prove it wrong. We'll gladly have that conversation and you'll walk away with a whole new perspective. Or just take these nuggets and go run with it. That's cool. But if you're one of those people that are tired of trying to master somebody else's process and you're kicking yourself because you think you're stupid, you're like, how come I'm not figuring this out? Why is everybody else smarter than me? They're not. They're not. You're just trying to put a square peg in a round hole and implement a system or a strategy or a script that was designed by someone else and for a different product, a different price point, a different marketplace, all kinds of difference, right? And you're trying to make it be your own. It just is harder to do that. And the reality is 90% of you will never be a sales expert. So quit killing yourself and trying. Spend that time instead learning how to structure your world in such a way that people show up ready to buy, because sales happen when you have the right conversations with the right people at the right time about the right things, and you can directly control that. And that's what we want to help you do.
Well, and I think just one more, testimonial from me here. I think one of the great things about your event, and I know the material that you're presenting, although I haven't seen it quite in this structure, to paraphrase the late, great, now graduated Bernie Dorman, there's a lot of events that give you your money's worth. I think with you, your goal is to give them their money back and more. And I can strongly endorse that. If you're putting it on for $97, I'm showing up too, by the way, just because I love getting to see you riff. But we'll put that in for everybody who's watching. We're going to have that placed in the resources page. So all of Jim's information, contact, and the offer will be put in the resources page. And if they want to get super anxious and just jump on, Jim, give the URL one more time.
Yeah, it's a gtenow.com/Make More Sales Live. And I'll give you one little simple plug for this too. We have a VIP upgrade. It's just stupid. It's really a stupid price. $197. For $197, we'll put you in your own separate Zoom room. We're maxing out 100 people for the VIPs. We want to be able to give them a special service. You're going to get some private access to us, and you're going to have you're going to be collected with the other people who are trying to get the greatest amount of outcome from the event. So you're going to be with like-minded people who are trying to crush it. And this part is worth the price of the ticket all by itself. Is After the event, we're going to do a special debrief for the VIPs where we're going to break down the event, how we filled it, how we put it together, what we did, what the results were. We're literally just going to open up our whole kimono, the good, the bad, the ugly, and you're going to learn how to put together an event that converts. And for $197 for the VIP, just upgrade and get it done.
It almost sounds to me like you're sticking with that philosophy of honesty.
Totally.
Yeah,
Totally.
I love
Easiest
that.
way to do it.
Yeah, open up the back end and let them see exactly how you did it. I think that that's an incredible offer. So kudos to you for doing it. I don't know that I could be that brave. So
Hey, you know what? Worst thing that can happen is they can just like smack themselves in the head and go, wow, I can't believe these guys suck that bad. Or they'll go, wow, I can't believe how stupid I am or how smart I am or whatever it is. But you're going to have some response. But the only thing I know for sure is you're going to see all the truth. And then you
okay.
decide what the heck to do with it.
I love it. Well, Jim, as always, it is an absolute pleasure and a joy to have you on. I know you're a busy man. You have other calls to get to, so I want to let you go. I want to honor our time. But honestly, from the bottom of my heart and on behalf of the Strategic Small Business Education, thank you for your time and thank you for sharing this stuff with us. I know as a small business owner myself, I always learn something listening to you, and I hope that all of you out there have learned a little bit something more from Jim. Anybody who wants to get a hold of him will have the resources in the page. And thank you, Jim, for being here.
Absolutely, man. My privilege to be here, and I'm always good to connect with you.
I'm there. I'm on board. All right, we'll talk to you soon.